love, sex, desire, drama, lovers, and the others. And we talk about it all here on Relationship Rhetoric. Greetings and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. This is your host, Unapologetically Angela, and we have with us today Ellyanna.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. You have seen her on the cover of the Memphis Flyer, a fabulous photo shoot, and it was really good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So you know we're focusing on singles this month. So we are going to get into Ellyanna's business and see what's happening in your world as far as being a single transgender in Memphis.
Well, I don't know about the single part.
Oh,
but
okay.
I have been single and transgender in Memphis, and that's interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. So let's get into it. If any point you're uncomfortable, please let me know. You can pass on any question, but let's be comfortable and have fun, okay?
All right.
Okay. So what was your childhood like? Emotions? Who did you play with? Who did you prefer to hang with?
My childhood, I always tell people I'm a person that lives in my head. And that started from childhood. I've always lived in my imagination and reading books, playing video games, watching cartoons. And really because I was sort of not a recluse, but I wasn't very social as a child. An introvert.
There it is.
I spent a lot of time just to myself, and a lot of times around my mom or my dad. My brothers were older than me, so I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them because they were already out, doing things that older boys do.
Gotcha.
And so I was just always just in my imagination, or had my head in a book, or in front of the TV. So
Okay. So when did you first feel like being a boy wasn't working for you?
Probably about the age of 4.
Wow.
I remember that very clearly because I got in trouble. My mom said something to me. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I said, "No, Mom, I'm a girl," and I got scolded like really, really good for that. I didn't get hit or anything, but I got the message that don't say this. So it started really early. It started in an early age.
Okay. So let's talk about now. You said you don't know about single. So tell me about the most romantic date you've been on.
Ooh, okay. The most romantic date I've been on. I went on a date with a guy, and it wasn't supposed to be a date, but it kind of turned into a date. It was more just like we were hanging out, chit-chatting or whatever, walking, and he just kind of started spilling his guts, like giving me his life story. And I started giving him my life story.
Okay.
And of course, in giving him my life story, I mentioned that I was transgender. And he kind of like stopped for a minute. He kind of froze. And he like looked at me. He didn't say anything. He just kind of looked for a while. And he goes, "Oh, I didn't know that." And I was like, I hope that's not a, problem or anything. If it is, I understand. But the night went on, and we ended up kind of walking down Main Street, and that's when the trolleys were going by, and we were holding hands, and we kind of ended up on Riverfront. We kind of just walked down the Riverfront and just kind of sat there and talked. And the sun was it had already gone down, but still had that little bit of light on the river. It was really, really romantic, and this guy was really, really handsome. And I'm sitting here, and he's just kind of like, after me telling him this, he's just like, "You know what, I don't care, I still like you,"
Nice.
And so that was nice.
How long ago was that?
Ooh, this was a year or so ago.
A year or so recent. Okay,
yeah,
nice. Okay, so you hinted around to not being single, so we're dating now or in a relationship now.
Yes, I am in probably the most unusual relationship I have ever been in, but it's working out fine.
Okay.
I'm in a relationship with another trans woman.
Wow.
Yes, and it's not that being in a relationship with a trans woman is unusual for me, because I have before in the past, and that's actually something I really prefer.
Okay.
But we're in an open relationship, so we can actually see other people. So this is really, when we first started this off, this has been going on for about 3 months now.
Okay.
And when this first started off, I was kind of like, I don't know about this, and but it has not hindered the relationship between she and I.
Okay.
When she goes and does her thing, or I go and do my thing, and it's kind of like the majority of the time we still spend with each other, and that's what's kind of was like, I was wondering if our time together was going to be hit or miss. Was that going to hinder our sex life? Like what was this? How was this going to work out? And so it was new for her too, so it was just kind of like, well, let's just play it by ear, and it's actually working. And side hookups haven't happened as often.
Okay.
It hasn't happened as often as I thought they would. They have happened, and there's been not an issue on that. They kind of happen mostly on my end, and she seems to be okay with that. She seems to be okay with that. So far, everything seems to be pretty good. And then the guy that I just told you about on the romantic date, he's kind of like this.
The side hookup.
Okay. That's still going on. So yeah.
Okay, nice.
And he's okay with that too.
Okay. So has he met your mate?
They have not met. They've seen. I think they've seen each other on Facebook.
Okay.
But they have not met. He's very introverted. He's ex-military, very conservative. He's not hidden about his relationship with me, but he's not very like outgoing. He wasn't like with pride parades or anything like that.
Gotcha.
If you ask him, then that's what goes on. But it's kind of like he's not voluntarily vocal about it.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Have you ever been in a situation where people or a particular person was not welcoming or threatening to you?
Lots of times. I think lots of trans people deal with that, especially trans women. And it can be just going in a store, maybe a person who works in a store, or going to a particular hangout. It's just it happens so much that I probably couldn't name just one particular time, but it is in the back of my mind all the time, anywhere I go, especially from experiences that I've gone through where people have been threatening or made like comments or something, just any little thing to make the atmosphere uncomfortable. And then always hearing on the news or Facebook about a trans person has been killed or assaulted, or they always have this stupid bathroom thing going on right now, and it's always in the back of my mind to be kind of wary of my surroundings, like who's watching me, has this person been staring too long, or are they getting too close, or their body language, they look like they're gonna physically do something, or are they just cracking jokes, or it's you have to always look, and sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming, but I mean I guess it's unfortunately right now it's a part of it. Hopefully one day that'll eventually change, but yeah, I have been in those situations, and other people I know have been in those situations too.
Okay, that leads to the question that I wanted to ask about. How are you feeling about the controversy about the bathrooms and restrooms in different places?
It's agitating. It's stupid, because and it just recently came up, and at first I thought that it kind of really didn't affect me, but I was at work the other day, and even though I haven't seen the inside of a men's room for probably 10 years.
Wow.
So, but it just never generally, I'm always, like I said, with any situation, I'm cautious,
Right.
And there has been incidents like on other jobs where like an employee said something or done something, but it didn't really resonate in my mind that when I go into the bathroom, that the women's restroom, that I may also be in a dangerous situation in there, until all this started coming up. So now that people have been so obsessed with it, I was in the restroom at work the other day, and even though everybody was fine, it's just like when I went in there, I was kind of like, it kind of sunk in that like I could be in danger right now.
Wow.
You know, just because of all this stuff that's, you know, and that's something that, like I said, for years now, I hadn't even crossed my mind. You know, I just go in the restroom, do what I gotta do, and may stand there in the mirror or something, put on my makeup, and then just going about my business. It's when I first started my transition, the first time I went to the women's room, I was terrified. But like I said, for the past few months, I've gotten, it's just part of my life now. It's with anybody else. And it's only recently that I've been stopping to think, like, or even looking behind me to see if there's somebody coming into the restroom behind me. Wow. And I generally prefer the restrooms that have the where you just go in there by yourself and you can lock the door. Yeah. Like those are the best. But generally, if I going to the restroom now, I'm kind of cautious as to who is around and make sure that this isn't somebody that's going to try to follow me in there or do something to me. It's been a mess, and it's crazy because it doesn't even address the real concern with actual people's safety, which it really has nothing to do with people's safety. It's a propaganda tool to target a group of people. Because, I mean, I think if it was really about people's safety, you wouldn't have all these guys who commit rape getting off with probation. They would be in prison, but every time they do it, they get off with 3 months probation, or the judge shakes a finger at you and go, oh, well, we went to the same school, you know, so, you know, and so obviously it's not about safety, because when people actually do commit these crimes, they don't get punished for it. And might I add, you never see a transgender person committing these crimes. Like, I've not heard of one yet, and I've been out for a long time in the community. So,
that's an interesting observation. At what point did you feel like, this is more like it?
Oh, let me see. I was in Portland, Oregon, and I met a trans woman, a Latino woman named Deja. Okay. And up until then, because my family, they weren't a family that kind of preached against it. It was just a taboo subject that you didn't talk about. Right. So I didn't know anything until I had left town. I didn't know if there was something wrong with me, if there were other people that felt like me or anything. I knew the way I felt, but I didn't know of any other people. I didn't even know that there was a label for me. And I met this trans girl named Deja. And when she and I became close, and I started dressing out to do my transition, and she and I started a relationship with each other, that's when I had the this is more like it moment, because I was like, not only this is who I am, this is who I'm attracted to. So I kind of found two things at the same time. Okay. You know, because prior to then, I didn't, and this was like I was a teenager then. I didn't date men or women prior to that point, because for some reason I didn't feel a connection with either, and maybe it was because I wasn't able to be myself at that point. Okay. And, you know, I knew whatever I was something that was not approved of, because we didn't talk about it. And, you know, I knew of other people who were out, and I've heard other people outside my family, you know, say bad things about these people, you know. So I was like, okay, those people are being talked about, and I can't be talked about. So it was like, okay. So when I met her and I started getting exposed to all this stuff, that was the okay. And then I learned about surgery and hormones, and that, you know, there was a way for me to be who I am. You know, there was a such thing as a name change, and, you know, I could, you know, develop breasts and get every, you know, and that was also the year that I went to the first Pride Parade I ever went to. Okay. And that was, at that point, that was it. I was out at that point, and I was like, okay.
It was a wonderful feeling, huh?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad you found that. So, speaking about the process, so if you don't mind, walk us through the process to where you are now.
Okay, so I'll speak about the process, at least from my journey. It's different from for everybody's journey because
Absolutely.
not everybody chooses to go through surgery or even do hormones or even change their name.
Okay.
I wanted, I guess, the whole 9 yards, if you want to say. Uh, Saved up money. This was a time when I was drifting. I guess you want to say homeless at the time. I was staying in a shelter and stuff, and I saved up my money, and I did this on my birthday because up until then, most of my adult life, my birthdays and stuff hadn't been good, and that kind of stemmed from the suicide of a spouse that I had, prior, and so Christmas, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and my birthday all came back to back. It was just like a depressing time for me. So I ended up getting my name changed on my birthday of all things.
Nice.
And I was so scared. I went in there and judge came in and I was looking at this judge and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna throw me out of this courtroom. Because when I filled out the form, I had to fill out why I wanted my name changed. And I put on the form, I said, male to female, I'm transgender and I want to transition from being a male into living as a woman. And when I handed it to her, I was like, oh my God, he's going to read that and tell me to get the hell out of his courtroom. And he looked at it and the paper, and actually the funny crazy thing is the judge never made eye contact with me. He talked specifically to my lawyer because I had got a lawyer, and you don't need a lawyer to do this, by the way, but I was scared. And I had a friend who was an attorney, so he did it for free. And anyway, at the end of it, I walked out as Ellyanna.
Nice. And
it was on my birthday, and it was the best birthday present ever because I'm officially me on document. Nobody now can tell me this is not my name.
Right.
This is my name wherever I go.
Right.
On any piece of paper. And so 6 months after that, I started hormones.
Okay.
I went to therapy and started my hormone therapy. And body started changing, started learning a lot of things I did not know about being a woman. Mm-hmm. Because when you get rid of the testosterone and the estrogen kicks, things start changing and you start feeling different. So I was going through some emotions those first couple of months, and actually probably the first year until I got used to everything, and learning different sleeping habits and so started seeing a physician to get my letter and stuff from my surgery. For me would consist of the whole thing, the bottom surgery. They have so many different names for it, but the vaginoplasty to create the vagina, and so that's kind of where I am. And just other than that, I guess the big change for me is recently another step in this transition was to, I won't say forget about what I was living as, but to kind of completely let that go and understand to myself that I lived it that way, but that was never me.
Right.
That's what society wanted me to be, and I played that game for a little while, but that's behind me now, and I can do all these things that a woman does, and I live my life that way, and I associate with people who don't really try to bring that old life up and hold it. The people who see me as me, and I have a lot of male friends, not male sleeping friends, but just male friends, and I hang out with them, and it's just like when I'm with them, I'm in any other woman with them. Well, a little outgoing and quirky as I am, with all the, but it's my personality that makes me different with them, and not what I lived as,
Right.
And so and that's how they they see me, and that's kind of I wouldn't say a validating thing, but it's another part of my transition that I had to get used to, because in associating with them, I had to stop thinking in my mind that they see me as that and that they see me as this, because even though most of them are just my friends, there have been sexual encounters with some of them, and people ask me all the time, well, doesn't that make them gay? And I was like, well, no, because I'm a woman and he's a man, and so
Absolutely.
just kind of but so I guess right now I would say I'm just living life and waiting for the second part of my surgery to come up. And as far as the transition for me, I think that'll be the stop point, because it kind of everything else feels like it's lined up for the most part.
Okay. Cool. So you're enjoying wearing your heels, painting toenails, playing in makeup.
Playing in makeup,
Yes.
painting my toenails.
Yes.
Just doing my hair, going to the beauty shop, hanging out with other women. That's also new, because I say maybe only in the past 6 months have I started to gain a lot of women friends, whether they be trans or not trans. Prior to that, I hung out with a lot of guys, because I still kind of had this sort of, I feel self-conscious among, like, when I'm around women, because I feel like I'm like they're watching me, and it's like I'm not measuring up to be in the group with them. And so I'm still trying to, I still feel like that a lot, but lately I've been hanging out with more women and just kind of like bonding, having girl time with other girls. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is nice. I like this. In the back of my mind, I'm still scared, but it's a lot of fun sitting around just talking about issues that we're faced with, and finding commonality with things that they go through and things that I go through.
Right.
Because like we were talking about earlier, the sexual assault thing. It's like, to be able to have that common ground with them, and it not really be a trans or non-trans thing. It's kind of like when we're walking down the street at nighttime, and some people are catcalling you.
Absolutely.
That happens to me a lot, and I generally am terrified when that happens, especially if they're not really understanding that I'm not interested, and they're kind of like getting aggressive. I really get scared at that point. At that point, I'm kind of like, okay, I feel like this is getting dangerous now.
Right.
So.
Right. Right. Very good. Well, we should have drinks very soon. Okay. Okay. So I think you've answered this question. So what is your preference when dating? And so now that you're in a relationship, you would say,
oh, that's still tough, because I have always bonded with other trans women.
Okay.
And that's probably something that you won't find in our community a lot, that I have a specific interest in other women like myself.
This is true.
But I think recently I've just kind of come to the conclusion with being in this relationship, and though I guess you want to say my side hooker. I hate to call him that.
Your side piece. Okay.
His side piece. He's so much more than that. He's a really a good friend.
Take no offense.
He's really a good friend and everything, but he's a male and such a masculine man. He's tattoos and long beard, and he's your typical guy, like man's man. And I love that so much. Like I eat that up when I'm with him, but then when I'm with my girlfriend and she's such a womanly woman, I really kind of become comfortable with saying I'm bi.
I was just about to ask
that. And
okay.
That's something that I've not recently been comfortable with saying, because then you tell them you're bi, then they're like, oh, are you confused?
Right.
And this, that, and the other.
Right.
And it's like, I like being with him when I'm with him, and most of the time I'm with her, and I'm fine with that. But it's like, when I'm with him, it's not awkward at all. It's very natural. It's very full. There's no putting on. There's no playing. It's I'm me and he's him, and it feels really good. He puts his arms around me. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Absolutely. So, how has sex life been since the point where you are in your surgery?
Better.
Really?
Way better. Way better.
Okay.
I will tell you something, and this even shocked the hell out of my girlfriend, and it shocked people when they find out. We don't say this on camera now. I discovered this. I have multiple orgasms now.
Wow.
And it feels fantastic.
Okay, so multiple orgasms with him or with her or both?
Both.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, I don't even want to ask that.
Both. And I was like, whoa. It's like, man, it's way better than that one I'm done stuff.
Okay, very nice. So do you think, just speculating, that the two of them and you would ever come together?
I don't know.
Or do you like that separate?
I think, well, she and I decided that we were talking about that the other day, because she has had everything done so far.
Okay.
And that's new for me. That's very new.
Okay.
You know, even seeing that is new for me. So she is not into guys, really.
Okay.
And I have limitations on what I want to do with women. So we actually talked about a threesome recently and how we would do that. So to answer the question right now, no.
Okay.
We're not there yet as a couple.
Okay.
But she did say that, you know, you never know what may happen, you know, because we both seem to be finding out things about each other with each other that we didn't previously know. Because like I said, I'm just now really comfortable with the idea of saying that I'm bi because I like her so much. And I do have the need to be with her.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I also still have that need to be with a
him.
man.
Okay.
And that's, you know, when I go and spend time with him. So right now, no, but
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, so
it has come up. The conversation has come up more than once.
Okay. More than twice?
More than twice.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what happens. So tell us what we can look forward to coming from Ellyanna. You're always doing something.
A new book.
Okay.
It's called Darkest Paradise. It is sort of an erotica, and it does have a bit to do with the bisexuality.
Okay.
And it's turning into more of a graphic novel.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do a graphic novel originally, and I started out doing a book. I had two separate projects, and what ended up happening was, and I've learned to believe that things happen for a reason, that
Absolutely.
the universe, whether good or bad, puts things to kind of direct you a certain way. I was about 10 chapters into this novel that I was working on, and I left the flash drive in my computer and put the computer up. Flash drive cracked in half. Could not save the novel. But I still had all my graphic novel images, and I had some images that were not associated with my graphic novel. So what started to happen was I started rebuilding the story and noticed that they fit really well with these images that I had. So I started compounding them, and now what I have is planned to be a 3-part series.
Okay.
And this first book I will hope comes out this year.
Okay.
That's still the goal.
Okay.
And I'm working on that. About halfway through it. Most of the writing's done. At this point, I'm just kind of putting words with images and different things. So it still reads mostly like a novel. You'll have some pages where it's just full reading, but then, you know, you may turn another page and there's, you know, this graphic novel setting, and that's the flow of the story. It still pushes the story along, but instead of being full page text, you may have full page images with the little words here or there, and then
Okay.
you know. So that's the way it's going so far, and I'm learning guitar. I got an acoustic guitar. I've always wanted to be in a band. Bass is what I want to play.
Okay.
But I have a acoustic right now, and I'm having lots of fun with it. I sat out on the patio the other day and just played a few chords, and it's really, really, relaxing. My girlfriend, by the way, is a very good guitar player.
Oh, nice.
And the guy that I see is a bass player. He's a really good bass player. So I kind of get lessons everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sitting out on the patio, and it was hot at first, and it kind of got cloudy, like it was going to storm, and the wind was blowing. It was just very relaxing, and I was like, I'm really going to enjoy doing this. You know, when I get to the point where I'm ready to play in front of people, I think I'm going to have fun doing this. So that's what you can kind of expect from me.
Okay, nice, very nice. So before we go, I'd like you to share some words of wisdom with not only the transgender community, but with everyone about being open and non-judgmental with yourself before trying to get into a relationship.
That's probably the healthiest thing to do. And me and my girlfriend, we talked about this before we started the relationship, and we were like, we have probably the most open and honest relationship that either of us have even heard of. I mean, and it helps. It eliminates secrets, and sometimes it can be probably a little hurtful, but she and I are always open and honest with each other. So it never crosses my mind that she's keeping secrets or doing something behind my back, and she doesn't worry about that either. It's kind of like, you know, if I go and do something with him, I tell her, you know, I went and had sex with Sean, or you know, she'll do the same thing, and it really, I think it will help better with a long-term relationship if that's what you're really looking for, because it builds that trust and being honest about what you want with yourself. That way you know what you're looking for, and then the other person, there's no surprises, because I think a lot of times, at least for me, there's been this feeling of like betrayal, you know. You just, and you know, she's mentioned the same thing, you know, you've had this thing for 6 or 7 months, and I'm finding out, not even because you voluntarily told me, finding out that you've been lying to me.
And that's typical in most.
Yeah, and typical in most relationships. And by knowing up front, and even if you don't know, be honest about that, because that's one of the things I told her. I said, I don't know how I feel about this relationship in itself. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I know I like you, and that's the most I can tell you right now, and there's no secrets, but to tell you that, you know, I feel this way or that way about where we are right now, I can't say that. But being honest is like, I don't know, and we'll see where it goes. And that gives the other person the option of whether or not they want to continue with the relationship. So nobody's feeling used or, you know, betrayed or lied to. And we decided that by being so open with each other, even if the relationship doesn't work out, we can still be friends afterwards. Absolutely. Because it's not like, you know, we did anything to deliberately hurt each other. And we have some pretty candid conversations sometimes, and we'll both be like, wow, we've never been in a relationship where I would have said that to my partner previously, just kind of like, look, you know, this is the way it is, just flat out, no sugarcoating, no flowers on it. Look, this is how it is. And she'll say, this is how it is. And, you know, we may feel a little, you know, ouch, you know, afterwards, but then at least we know we told each other the truth, and we seem to every time come right back to the relationship under the, you know, the reality that we're both care enough about each other to, you know, keep this open and honest. So absolutely. I would say always do that. And absolutely. If you're open and honest with yourself, then you're more comfortable with yourself too. And I think a lot of times, especially in our community, there are a lot of people who are not comfortable with themselves. So it's really hard to be in a relationship with somebody when you're not comfortable with yourself. And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. I didn't date men or women prior to transitioning, and partly because I wasn't being me. And I wasn't comfortable being with somebody when I wasn't being me, because when I wasn't being me, I didn't know who to be around this person. You know, do I be this or do I be that? Do you want me to act masculine? Do you want me to act feminine? I wasn't being myself. And now that I'm myself, I'm Ellyanna all the time. And I tell people, whether they're friends or not, this is me. You if you want it, great. If you don't, no hard feelings, but
Absolutely.
this is me 24/7. I don't change.
Absolutely. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The wonderful spirit inside and out, Ellyanna. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you so much. Our notion for today is, in order to love who you are, you have to love the experiences that shaped you. This has been Relationship Rhetoric. I'm unapologetically Angela. Peace, love, and enlightenment.
Love, sex, desire, drama, lovers, and the others. And we talk about it all here on Relationship